Continue working on your scene from the last movie, or use the scene named cp10buildings.max. The scene is coming together nicely, but still needs a few more objects for added realism. Here, you use Civil View to add a few buildings to the backdrop. Civil View has a simple-to-use building maker that helps in this task. It's rather limited in scope, particularly when you compare it to other tools that offer similar functionality. If you are a regular on this channel, you may have already experimented with another building maker tool that offers wider choices. However, the limitations of Civil View's building maker are also the reason why the tool is very easy to use. It relies on simple extrusions, so you need a 2D shape as a startup. To keep things simple, create a rectangle in the top view next to the start of the bridge. To ensure it's at the right elevation, use Auto Grid mode. You can always make additional transform adjustments later, such as moving or rotating the shape. Make sure Civil View is running, and from the Civil View menu choose Civil View Building Object Style Editor. Add a new element. You can see how various Civil View tools have the same workflow. Assign the new element to the new shape. Click Apply to see the results in the viewport. There are only a handful of parameters to adjust. By specifying a floor height value and a number of floors, the total building height is automatically calculated. Apply again to see the results. You can also choose from a variety of included building maps. Don't exit the dialog just yet. Create another shape. This time use the angle extended spline. Add a new element based on the new shape. Note that although the new shape is selected as reference, nothing happens when you click Apply. Extended splines are not recognized as 2D shapes inside Civil View. This means that in order to use them as building footprints, you need to collapse them to editable splines first. Once that's done, you can then make the necessary building type adjustments. Note that you can copy an existing shape, such as the new angle, and use the copy as a base for yet another element. And just like that, you have 3 new buildings in the scene. When you are dealing with editable splines as reference, it means you can adjust the footprint to apply changes to the buildings. For example, you may decide to chamfer a corner and the building is automatically adjusted. If you decide to save a building list by saving a building object style.bos file, remember that the elements are based on shapes that have specific names. If you are to save your style now, it can only be used on shapes named rectangle 001, angle 001, and angle 002. With that in mind, exit the dialog without saving the style. Consider how the building style works. A building is created based on a spline, and the building is actually a child of the parent shape. This is very useful as you can move or rotate the parent shape to reposition a given building anywhere in the scene. Select and delete the three shapes and their children buildings before moving on. Take a look at this file named footprints.max that was provided to you. You don't need to open it. It's a simple file with about 20 2D shapes. Note that the splines have been named in a particular way with a 2DFP prefix that stands for 2D footprint. The naming of these splines is not as generic as rectangle 001 or angle 002. Therefore, they are more specific that they can be used in a building object style scenario. What you do next is import this file into your bridge scene and relocate the splines where you need them. If you feel a bit lazy, there's another file named inplace footprints.max where the 20 shapes have already been moved into place. Simply merge this file into your cp10 buildings.max scene. You can then use the techniques shown earlier to assign building parameters and mapping for each spline. A style saved then would make sense, as you would be able to reuse it anytime you have shapes labeled 2DFP001 through 020. Case in point, you have been provided with such a style, you'll be able to test it out. Go back to the Building Object Style Editor and click the Open icon. Make sure the Private Resource Kit is selected, and then click the Import File button. Browse to your C3D to 3ds Max folder and import the file mybuildings.bos. Select it and load it up. A list of new elements appears in the dialog. Simply click the Apply button to turn the 2D shapes into 3D buildings. Do not close the dialog just yet. You can see how fast that process can be once you have a style defined and 2D shapes named accordingly. Here's a quick tip for you. Because 3ds Max allows for two or more entities to be named the same, you can take advantage of this situation. Go ahead and create a new rectangle on the other shore. By default, this new rectangle is named rectangle 001. Rename it and give it the name of one of the merged splines, such as 2DFP009. Apply the style one more time. Note the new building that was created because the reference rectangle has been renamed according to the style that was used. Merge in the file named inplace fprints east.max to add 2D shapes to the east shore. As you select the 20 shapes, make sure you allow for duplicates by using the Merge button. Apply the style again and see the city grow. Close the Building Object Styler when done. Keep in mind, you can make individual edits by using Civil View Explorer. For example, you can change the number of floors on a building to make it higher or lower. Test render and look for anomalies. You may find a few buildings floating because some 2D shapes were actually misplaced. When that happens, select one or more buildings with that problem so you can pinpoint the offending shapes in Scene Explorer. It may also help you to temporarily turn the viewport to a realistic mode with shadows cast based on scene lights. Make the necessary adjustments and save your file. In the next movie, you add vegetation to the mix.